Beth, welcome back to the fan vlogs and welcome back to, well, one of the first times we've walked out of here feeling quite relaxed and comfortable.
Yeah, it's good when you're at that point in the season where a day like this I've come very relaxed. I was a little bit nervous about Burnley, but to be honest, after the first 15 minutes I thought this is going to be one of them days at the office where you just kind of see out the result. And to be honest with you, was it an amazing performance? No, it wasn't. Were players rusty? Of course they were, but I don't think Burnley offered that much, and we did a job that we need to do. Just got out of second gear in that game, blew the cobwebs off from the World Cup, and I'm happy with that performance going into the Nottingham Forest game. I think obviously there needs to be improvement because there was some areas on the pitch that needs improving, but not everyone's back. But I thought there was some really good positives as well to take out of it. So I'm walking out happy, and I'm just so happy that club football is back. I mean, you realise how much better it is when you come again, don't you?
That's it. Yeah, the buzz came back straight away. We've seen some World Cup players who were playing well for the countries transfer that form right into the game there tonight. Casemiro, Bruno, Rashford was a brilliant goal. Good to see them bring club football into the international stage and do well for the countries, but then bring it back as well.
I've got a question for everyone at home and for you as well. I mean, who's a better centre-back, Casemiro or Maguire? Like, genuinely.
It was only Burnley and Barnes.
I know it was only Burnley and Barnes, but I'm obviously being a bit tongue-in-cheek with that. And I think we missed Casemiro in midfield, if I'm being honest, and we didn't have anyone to pick that ball up. I thought McTominay had a shocking game, but it's one of them where you don't really go in on any players today because it was just one of them performances. But I thought Casemiro with the back, apart from that little pass at the end where he accidentally passed it to a Burnley player, I thought he was brilliant. I mean, I know it's only Burnley, but I thought he just carried out his job excellently. He was just really kind of professional in what he did, and you could tell the maturity of the player.
That's it. And Bruno Fernandes there, great ball into Wan-Bissaka early on, and Wan-Bissaka, well, a lot of criticism. I've gone in on him. I said on my vlog there, he deserved praise. You can only play who's in front of you, Beth, and he did okay tonight. I
was watching him as he came off because I wasn't sure whether it was an Erik ten Hag decision or whether it was because of injury, but I was watching just to see how Erik ten Hag's reaction was with him, and he seemed to put his arm around him and really kind of give him a bit of credit. And to be honest, I think he deserved it. Yes, it is only Burnley, and yes, there was a couple of mistakes, but for me he was one of the brighter players on the pitch. I thought that pass back into Eriksen to make the first goal was great from him. He was getting forward a lot more, better with the ball at his feet. He was playing that inverted fullback role. You could tell Erik ten Hag's been working on it with him, and I thought he was getting into space really well. So I was happy with Wan-Bissaka's performance. Still, Dallow's there, Wan-Bissaka's here. Like, we know in terms of where the elite is right now, but I think you saw a player there that can definitely get sold for a bit of money, or if we're desperate, he can play instead of Dallow. I think from what I saw in the games in Spain, where in the friendlies, I do think you can see Aaron Wan-Bissaka kind of, there is qualities there. Like, there is a player there for a certain team, there is, but it's just for me going forward, he's always lacked that little bit of something. But today, against a side like Burnley, I thought he was really in his element. I thought he did really well, so I would give him some credit. One thing I also wanted to mention is, not to bring it back onto England, but how Sterling was coming on before Rashford in that game against France. I mean, Rashford, you just saw today, like, he wasn't his best game up until the goal, but that goal was phenomenal. He can make a moment out of anything, and I don't care if it's against Burnley, I don't care if it's who it's against. That goal was really, really, really special, and the way he got past that many players, it was great. So it's good to see players taking confidence in today's game.
That's it. They're not bringing it home, Beth. They are home, but it's not coming home. Remember that.
Yeah.
It is United. We are playing against a weakened Burnley side there. We spoke with Jacob there. He thought Burnley matched Manchester United.
Yeah, I didn't really agree with what he was saying.
There were players that they were missing that could have caused us more damage. Did we sort of get away with one there with the timing of this game? Was it a nice tune-up game, could you say?
Well, I expected more from Burnley, if I'm being honest, and I think it was company that actually decided to leave a few stars on the bench. I know some they had a few injuries as well, but I expected a bit more from them from the way they've been playing in the Championship. But it was mostly their second-string team, which is obviously why we got the result we got. I do think there was mistakes that we made at the back. I mean, Dubravka,
he's not worrying this season, is he?
No, he's not. I mean, that is. He looked a bit shaky the last game, and today as well. It was poor, very poor from the back.
We're not going to see him against Forest.
Yeah, no. We're lucky that it was a side that were woeful in front of goal. I think Burnley, the passing was good. They strung a few good passes together. Their left back was decent, I thought. When he was against Rashford in the first half, he was decent, and then against Anthony, he was decent as well. I thought he looked very good. We had a few players that, I mean, I just don't think they really offered much. When they had the ball, they could string a few passes together, but in front of goal, I don't think they offered much. I think if it was a team that had a bit more, I mean, what would you call it? A bit more firepower in front of goal. They definitely could have caused us a bit more problems, but you can only play who you're against, and I think we learned from the mistakes that we made in there, and we need to be sharper, more on our game. I mean, I thought McTominay got away with one today. I thought if he'd made them passes against a different side, it would have been a different story. He had a really poor game. He just needs to kind of pick his head up after that and go again, because that was a really poor performance. And then Anthony, I thought, was a bit rusty when he came on, but then he got into the game and looked a lot more fiery and looked more fired up for it. Again, Bruno, I think he was just kind of dusting the cobwebs off, but one of our better players. I mean, Eriksen, I thought, had a brilliant game. Eriksen has had more time in training, though, hasn't he, than a lot of the other players. But I do think it's one of them where most of the team was just getting out of second gear, and we're going to take it up a notch against Forest. I'm actually so excited against Forest. I hope Jesse Lingard plays, because it's one of them where you want to get up for the game, don't you?
That's it, Beth. Before you go, though, first one back, who's getting man of the match tonight?
Man of the match for me would be Rashford or Eriksen. I'm going to go with Eriksen. I thought he ran the midfield pretty well. Between Casemiro, Eriksen and Rashford, but I'm going to go with Eriksen. I thought he played very, very well. One thing I would say is I thought, actually wanted to add in the end, Malacia did a good job when he was there. I mean, you can't really judge it, but I think it's the perfect type of player to bring in for games like this and for when you want to rest Shaw. We need that on the other side. Wan-Bissaka's not going to be that. He did decent today, but once that sale comes through, hoping to get another right back in. But one extra thing I want to say quickly is Martial. Tonight he was decent. It wasn't anything special. Again, I think he's just kind of getting into the groove of playing with everyone again in like at Old Trafford, you know, after all of his injuries. But when he went down injured, my heart dropped. That's another thing we need to address. So the squad depth, when you see that final bit of the game when it's Elanga and playing up front, that's when you panic. So we do need to look in the window as well, which hopefully we'll end up doing.
Cheers, Beth.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and we'll see you on the next game.